Hey everybody, this is Sakutian. I hope y'all are having a good day. Give me just a sec while I make sure everything is working here. Because I want to make sure it's actually working before I start streaming. It is! Okay, cool. Hi everybody, this is Sakutian. I am trying something a little different today. Usually I just play games and hang out with y'all, which I love doing. I don't really do tier lists or like just chatting content usually because it's not something that I don't know. I feel like you to do that stuff you have to kind of have a lot of people to bounce things off of in your chat and jazz. Um, and nothing against my pebbles. I love y'all, but I'm not a big content creator, so I am doing a Batman Beyond tier list. These are all Batman Beyond villains that we're going to be looking at today. This is a tier list that I made. So there's like 60 villains here that I got. I made this to play with stuff and see if everything works, and it looks like it is. I'm not having any weird whiteouts or anything, so that's great. I'm going to do my go on live tweet and all that good stuff so that people know we're here. So give me just a sec while I do that. Live on Twitch. Doing a Batman Beyond villain tier list. Alright, and I'll put something on here. I know this is riveting content. Like, I'm so professional. Here we go. There we go. Alright, great. Got it. Beautiful. Let me actually put in the Discord that I'm doing this too, because that's why we have a Discord. And live now, doing a Batman Beyond tier list. Okay. It's a villain tier list. Alright, so for those who don't know, Batman Beyond is a futuristic version of Batman. Hey, Atomic. Basically, in the future, Batman has... I'm going to get way down in the corner here. Batman has had to stop... Bruce Wayne has had to stop being Batman because he has a heart condition. His advanced state... Hello, Atomic. He can't be Batman anymore. So he's had to stop being Batman for many, many years. And a young man named Terry McGinnis eventually crosses paths with him and steals his futuristic high-tech Batman suit and becomes the new Batman of a new age. Terry McGinnis has a lot of different villains than Bruce ever did. A lot of these are very straightforward, and some of them are not. Some of these are direct sort of takes on his villains. Some of them are new villains. I'm going to run through these and just kind of give what my opinion of them is. We'll see how it goes. Give me one sec. I am just going to mute something really quick here. Sorry about that. Okay, so, I really like Batman Beyond. It's a fun series. It's part of the reason I'm doing this tier list, because I was like, what do I don't normally do just chatting stuff, because like I think people are going to get bored with it and not show up, and that's fine. We're going to do what we want, and we're going to have fun. So, I thought we'd start with... Alright, so this is the Joker. We only see the Joker show up as an actual Batman Beyond villain, and give me one sec. I did something that might work. We'll see. Here he is. Alright, so here's our first bad guy, the Joker. This version of the Joker, to me, is always great. This is Mark Hamill playing the Joker. He is intelligent. He is really, really scary for a couple of reasons. It shows that this version of the Joker understands science. He knows everything that Batman and Robin knew at their peak of what they were doing in their crime-fighting careers. He is psychologically terrifying, and Mark Hamill just does an amazing job. He has a really good plan for what he's trying to do. You see him in Return of the Joker. This Joker is not here to play around and just like make whoopee cushion jokes. He is here to take out the entire Bat family and win, and he very nearly does it. I normally don't like the Joker too much. I'll be 100% honest. I think the Joker is kind of overdone. But Mark Hamill as the Joker is always great. So he's got to be S. He's going into the S tier. Um, for the record, the S is like villains that I don't think we could improve on. They're perfect in this iteration. They're great. I love seeing them. I want to see them more. A is going to be like, still want to see more of them. They don't quite touch the perfection, but they're still very, very close. B is like, they're really good. I kind of wish we got to see more of them, but I don't love them as much. C is like, I feel like their stories are complete. They're not great. They're fine for one-offs. And D is, I don't care about them. I don't want to see them anymore. So yeah, we're gonna go with that for the S tier for the Joker. Let me grab our next guy here. The next gentleman is Dr. Abel Cuvier. Dr. Cuvier only shows up a couple. I think he only shows up once. We do see splicing show up a few times, but this is him. He is a scientist who basically is at the forefront of this idea of splicing, where they are taking human people and combining them with animal DNA so that they take on animalistic traits. There's a couple of his henchmen on here, and I'll probably do them as well because it makes sense to do them together. He at one point becomes this really scary chimera creature. Initially, he's just got like the eyes and he's got claws. So he starts off Joker versus non-Bruce Wayne Batman always cracks me up. He gets so angry. More like yes, he does. Terry just pisses the Joker off. That's how he ends up beating him. He's a smart guy. He has a plan. He has an objective. He's really cool. He's also one of Terry's unique villains. This is also the episode where like we see Terry and Ace start to bond and go from just Ace hates Terry to like Ace is part of the family and everything. I'm gonna put him in S. He is scary. He's intelligent. I think we should have gotten more episodes with this guy, and I think they would have been fun. But I'm putting him in S. He's pretty much a primo villain that we just did not get a lot of, which may be why he's in the S tier. Because like I want to see more of him. Let me grab some of his henchmen here because we have a few of them to play with. All right, so this is King Cobra. He is a spliced person who has been combined with, I'm going to say just a snake. I don't know specifically what snake. He has like this creepy, his bones are kind of gelatinous, so he can do all this weird contortionist stuff. Let me change my image too, because I'm going to forget to do that every single time. Let's grab him. That way you all can see the image, because I know some of these are small. I tried to, there we go. So this is King Cobra. He's creepy. He has venom. He has fangs. He is, we don't really get to see a lot of him. He is probably one of the cooler henchmen, in the series. I can't really fault him. I'm going to put him in A. I wish we got to see him again. I'm not putting him in S because he's not a leader. He's not a villain unto himself. He is still pretty solid, and he's a fun bad guy. I wish we got to see more of him. And we're going to run through Cuvier's henchmen really quick here, just because there's not a lot to say about them. They are generally just hench people. Let me make this a little bigger for y'all. There we go. This is Tigress. She is another one of Dr. Cuvier's henchmen. She's been spliced with, I assume, a tiger or just other big cats. We don't really get to see or hear much from her. She is, there. She fights pretty well. I'm going to put her in B. I like her. I don't like her as much as the Cobra guy, but she's still pretty cool. And I kind of wish we got to see more of her. I wish she got to, step up and maybe, these are just, to me, three really cool characters that I wish we got to see more of, and to varying degrees. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Evil henchmen. Very cool. Would be a fun solo villain as a splice person. Also, could be a really cool solo villain. Um, he has one more henchman, and let me grab them here. Where is my image? I am finding it. What did I do with you? The worst part is, where the heck is he? I have a bunch of image file sources for this one because, like, I want to be able to show you guys the characters that we're talking about. Ah, here he is. Okay, that is way too big. She is pretty. Yeah, Tigress is pretty. This is Ramrod. He is another one of Dr. Cuvier's henchmen. He is someone who's been spliced with a goat. He's kind of just a typical big dumb henchman. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I kind of hate Ramrod. Anybody who goes to, like, you can have any animal power you want, and all he can come up with is he wants to be a goat. He doesn't really get to do much except be kind of the hammer of his group. I'm going to put him in D. I don't really care about Ramrod. I don't want to see him again. He's not terribly interesting, and I don't care about him that much. So we're going to put him down here in D. He can. I think we can swap him out for a better henchman, or just have him be a non-speaking role maybe. I don't need to see him again. We've got plenty of, like, you know, they made a joke about him eating cans. I feel like we've explored all there is to explore with him. All right, so we're going to move on to Armory. Armory is a one-and-done villain. He is the stepfather to one of Terry's friends. Not one of his main friends, but, like, sort of a background character they flesh out in an episode. He's a weapons designer who loses his job, and then he basically starts stealing so that he can sell weapons on the black market, and kind of keep his lifestyle going. During the course of the episode, he basically is, like, forced to fight Batman a few times, and then he decides he doesn't want to carry on with his life. He admits his crimes. He goes to jail for a brief period of time, but he works things out, and he steps up and is like, hey, I made a mistake, and he reforms. I really like Armory as a one-and-done villain. I'm going to put him in B tier for a couple of reasons. He's a really fun character. I would like to see him brought back maybe as someone's forcing him, like Amanda Waller of the future, or someone is compelling him to be Armory. I would not put him in A tier, and the only reason is because I reserve that for people who, like, I really want to see be villains unto themselves. Armory, like, his story feels done unless they bring him back with a really good reason. He's still a really fun character, but he is a one and done. He only shows up the one time. So yeah. And now we're gonna come to another one of Terry's original villains. This character is called Big Time. He is a former friend of Terry's, who gets exposed to chemicals that make him bulk out and kind of mutate into this massive, heavily muscled shape. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Terry has some great original villains. I don't like Big Time. I think he's the weakest villain of the original Terry McGinnis Batman villains. He is, like, he's kind of supposed to be like this version of Two-Face. But, like, the thing with Two-Face that I always liked is, like, he is very compelling because he and Bruce really like each other. They are good friends, and because he has the dual personalities, Harvey Dent, you know, can kind of be like, Bruce can love Harvey Dent, and Harvey Dent can love Bruce, while Batman and Two-Face... No, this is not Two-Face. This is like Terry's take on Two-Face, because they were friends. He went to juvie. He went to juvenile prison for several years, and then He got out. Terry got him a job. He got exposed. And basically, this guy's whole thing is he calls himself Big Time. That's his whole thing, even before he became this. Because all he wants to do is basically get a big score and be like a big connected guy. He doesn't really hit like Two-Face does. Because there's no, like, he's a dick. He's just a dick from the minute he shows up. I don't like this character that much. He's not terrible. His episodes are some of the weaker ones for ones focused on original Batman villains. I'm gonna put him in B. Um, he's barely in B. He's like clinging onto it. I almost want to put him in C, but he's not so bad that I'm gonna put him down there. He's like a low B. I'd probably put him like last, barely qualifying for B. Let me change this up. And if anybody likes these characters, these are just my opinions. I am not always right. If you love this character, that's great. Alright, so here's what is supposed to be Terry's version of, like, his big bad. This is Blight. Blight is a businessman who Terry is put up against a lot throughout the series. And for the record, I'm only doing the animated series versions of the characters. I'm not delving into the comics because he has other rogues in the comics. I have not read all the Batman Beyond comics. I don't want to. And we're not going to do that. So yeah. This is Blight. Blight has like radioactive powers. He's basically exposed to an artificial disease, and then he has to be treated with radiation, which causes the disease to mutate, and it gives him these unusual powers. He has to wear artificial skin so that he's not like irradiating everyone, and also so that people don't know he's Blight because he does crime stuff. I'm probably going to catch some garbage for this one, but I think Blight is a weak villain. He every time he shows up is basically like supposed to be like a big, oh no, Blight's here. I don't really like him. He never really achieves anything. He never really wins anything. He basically just gets in fights that he either breaks even on or loses or runs away from. He pretty much never really shows that he's the big bad of this rogues gallery. I'm going to put Blight in D. I don't like Blight. He is a weak villain to me. I just don't care about him that much. So, yeah, we're going to put Blight down here in D. I think that we could do away with this with Blight, and I would not miss him at all. He has a cool design, but that's pretty much the best thing you can say about the character. He looks neat. Since we just did Blight, I do want to also comment on his counterpart. So this is Derek Powers. Derek Powers is Blight's normal form before he gets mutated and irradiated. Derek Powers owns the company that Wayne Industries has become. At the beginning of the show, they combined Powers Industries with Wayne Enterprises, and it's Wayne Powers. And he's been running the show for years and years and years. He's conniving. He's an evil businessman. He's always trying to like basically do bad deals. He is capitalism made manifest as evil. He's like, I'm gonna make an evil mutating virus and sell it. He is a completely insidious character. He tries to kill Terry a bunch. He tries to kill Bruce Wayne. He turns into Blight, but every time he turns into Blight, I feel like he's less interesting. I am going to put Derek Powers here. We're going to make Derek an A. He is much more interesting as Derek Powers than he ever is as Blight. He gets a lot more done. He has a lot more wins. He's more effective. Blight, we don't care. Derek Powers, really cool, and just a nice, like, yes, he is your typical evil capitalist guy. This is Mr. Fix, by the way. Let me just do him while we're here, because it makes sense to do some of these together. Let me grab his image here. Where is Mr. Fix? There he is. Okay. This is Mr. Fix. Mr. Fix is one of his. You only see Mr. Fix in like the first couple episodes of Batman Beyond. He is basically Derek Powers' like right hand. Thanks, Atomic. He's his like wet works guy. He's so stereotypically evil. Like, you know, it's like, oh, he's got like a scar and like one bad eye, and it's just like he fights Terry once and then he's done. I don't care about Mr. Fix. I don't need to see him again. I don't want to see him come back for revenge or Cyborg or whatever. Um he's fine for what he is, but it's like, yeah, I don't care. We don't need to see him again. So yeah, let's talk about some of these folks while we're here. So these are this is the terrific, we'll do the Jokers. So the Jokers are a street gang in the future. They are obviously inspired by the Joker. And let me just pull up their image here. Where is my image of the Jokers? Here it is. Okay, so the Jokers. You see a bunch of them here, and like these ones are all pretty typical. Like there's a rotating Joker cast, but like for the most part, they always kind of look like this group. At first, they're basically just like the low end of things is they're like street gang. You know, they do graffiti, they do arson, they rob people, they harass people, they do all that stuff. The high end of their thing is like that they are like the worst thing the Jokers I think ever did in and of themselves was they stole a vehicle that was like really advanced and used it to like have a gang war. I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't really like the Jokers that much. I think they're kind of boring. And individual Jokers can be really interesting, but the street gang itself, I don't really care. I'm going to put them in D. I don't really need to see more of them. I think they're background characters, they're fine, but as a main antagonist, I don't want to see more of them. I'm just kind of done with them. Let me grab... We're going to talk about some other Jokers who do kind of step up more than they did, though. So let's grab some of them. All right, let's do Ghoul. So Ghoul is a Joker. We see him in a couple of things. You see him in Return of the Joker for the first time. You also see him in a couple episodes of Justice League Unlimited. He is a Joker. He's one of the ones. The Jokers, I think, work better when they get built out and get personality and stuff. He kind of has a Scarecrow thing going, which I always thought was cool. Like, he's very clearly like, I don't know if they directly wanted to make him like Scarecrow, but like just like Ghoul, he's got the pumpkins, he's got the big hat, he's got the stitches. He's pretty smart. He, is able to use computers well. He has some fun stuff. You get to see he's kind of also a coward. He's not a great fighter. He gets taken out very quickly pretty much in every time that there's a fight that isn't completely one-sided. I'm going to put Ghoul in B. I think that Ghoul could be a fun villain to have him kind of step out on his own occasionally. He kind of starts off the same way that Scarecrow does, being really physically weak, but like if you look at Scarecrow is always scary, and like I think leveling him up could make him a really fun Batman villain to have in the mix. And you don't have to like make him too much more scary. Let's see. All right, let's do this guy. This is Bonk. Bonk is a pretty typical Joker goon. He's dumb. He's big. He hits strong. He's not really a good fighter, but he is strong. He's loud. Everybody kind of dislikes him. Pretty much every time you see Bonk, it's either to have him get killed or have him basically be the big, strong, dumb guy. I'm going to put Bonk in the D tier. I don't really care about Bonk. He's the weakest of the named Jokers, and he kind of falls prey to a lot of the things that the group does as a whole. I don't really need to see more of him. It's just like he doesn't really have a lot going on. His design is better, So like, I'd put him like he's probably like there. I mean, I'd put him above some of these other guys, but he's still not great. So yeah, he's the weakest of the named Joker characters that I've got here. There's also Chucko. Chucko is really unsettling to me because you never see him without that mask. He's like this. He uses heavy weapons. He's kind of the de facto leader of the group. Bunk usually is like, I'm in charge, and then he dies, and then Chucko is in charge the majority of the time. He's conniving. He's smart. I think he could be a really fun villain. I'm gonna put him in B. I would like to see more of him. I think he's a fun character. I wish we got to see more of him so I could justify putting him in a better category, but I can't. I can't do it. I gotta, go with what actually happened, and that's Chucko. All right, let's grab somebody else here. I know I'm doing a lot of the Jokers, but I think it makes sense to do them kind of together here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Dee Dee. All right, here we go. We're gonna do the Dee Dees. So the Dee Dees are the granddaughters of Harley Quinn. They have basically got like super gymnastics abilities. They're identical twins. They kind of use a lot of like hit and run tactics. I love the design, like that Raggedy Ann sort of thing going. Love the big hats. I love the way they play off of like they're always together. They finish each other's sentences. They're really fun. They got the legacy. I'm gonna put them in S. I want to see more of these two. I want them to step up and be their own thing. I think it would be really cool to see them either be their own villains in the future, or reform and become like a crime fighting duo like Harley did. So yeah, I love the Dee Dees. They're fun. We love them. We want more of them. They are great. I don't think there's any more just plain old Jokers that I missed. If I did, I'll come back to them. But yeah, we're going to run on down the list here. And let me grab our next villain. So we have another original Terry villain up next. This is Cynthia. Cynthia is a synthoid. She is basically an android that is bought by this guy in one episode who's like, I'm going to pay a small fortune to buy a robot girlfriend. And of course then he becomes popular and he's flirting with people and she starts, trying to kill them because she's programmed to love Howard and that's all she knows. It's very much like the story of Pygmalion, but Howard is completely irredeemable and a complete scumbag. Cynthia's fun. She doesn't really get much done as a villain. And I kind of feel bad for her because, like, she's just kind of abused by Howard. I'm going to put her in C. She's a fun one-and-done villain. I'll put her in B. I think she could be fun to bring back, maybe she fights for, robot rights and, tries to keep other people safe. I think she could be fun. I do kind of want to see more of her, but I get why we don't. Because, again, she's not... I don't think she's, somebody that they wanted to do whole storylines around. But, she does have, super strength. She's really hard to hurt. She's really intelligent. I think she could be fun. But yeah. Next up, we've got another original. And this is one of the group villains. This is the Terrific Trio. Very clearly kind of a rip on the Fantastic Four or the UFOs. You've got basically, this guy's powers, he's 2D. You've got a lady who turns into various gases and a big lava monster man. They show up in one of the early episodes. They have a lab accident. They're scientists, and the city Gotham loves these people because they're like, oh, they're real heroes, not like that Batman. They're really fun as a foil, and then you find out that the fourth member of their research team engineered the accident that cause them all to transform, and they nearly destroy the city trying to turn him into a monster like them. Um, Two of them are in love. Uh, they're a fun group. We again, it's a one and done for them, so we don't get to see much. I'm gonna put them in B. I think bringing them back could be fun as like a group of either anti-heroes or something like that. I think they're pretty fun. I liked them. They have a cool design, and it would be nice to see them come back in some form. If their story never continued, it makes sense. But yeah, I know I'm gonna put Big Time like way down here at the end because like I don't like Big Time. Big Time is like barely in B. Um, he's like clinging on for dear life. Every time I look at him, I'm like, should I put him in C? Hey, Shameless, how's it going? We're doing a Batman Beyond villain tier list, and you got here just in time for another one. This is Ink. Ink is one of Terry's original villains. Ink undergoes an experiment that basically transforms her into a gelatinous substance. She can shapeshift, she can shrink, she can grow, she can turn into liquid, she can travel really fast, she can like think like Terminator 2, like the liquid Terminator. She can do all that stuff. She can kind of shapeshift. Like she has like a humanoid form where she has a human face, and she has shapeshifted like into stuff. She can't change colors, so she's always sort of just the black. Um, she has some amount of vulnerability because you shoot her, it doesn't matter. Stab her, it doesn't matter. We see Ink a lot during the course of the series. She's really fun. Oh, I hope the soup's good. I really, really like Ink. She is Ink's S tier. She's just she's a thief, and she does corporate sort of sabotage a lot. We love Ink. She's a great villain. I wish we got to see more of Ink, and I would like her to be in more stuff. Ink is one of Terry's mainstay. Like, okay, so the villains that we have so far who are like Terry's mainstay villains, we've got Ink, and we've got Big Time, and Derek Powers. So these three, like, you know, S, A, B. And then you've got Blight down here, but we don't talk about him because we don't like Blight. So yeah. Let me grab our next one. All right, so this is Cobra. Cobra is a terrorist organization that has a snake theme. Cobra is kind of all over the place. They have plans that range from we are going to turn everyone into dinosaurs and like freeze and like heat up the planet so that only the dinosaur people will survive, which is kind of Saturday morning cartoon silly, to we're going to inject a virus into the they use cards in the future instead of any form of physical like paper currency. They use cred cards. They're basically like, we're gonna inject these with a virus that will like spread and then will hold the world hostage. They have a bunch of different plans during the course of the show. They kidnap Static Shock, the future Static Shock, who's one of the world's most powerful heroes, or Static, I should say, and Terry helps to free him. They're all over the place. They're a really fun group as far as like plots that they pull off and things like that. I think they're one of the more interesting ones that Terry fights as an organization. I'm gonna put them in A, because they're never bad. They're the only time I think they were a bad group is the very last episode, and the last episode of Batman Beyond is not its strongest episode, but I think you can keep coming back to them. You can fit them into a lot of places, and sort of play with them a lot. You can do a lot of different plots and schemes and have some fun with them. Let me see here. Let's grab our next guy. Oh dear, it's Mad Stan. Alright, well, here's Stan. Alright, so this is Mad Stan. Mad Stan is this anti-government guy. He does explosives. He has a little chihuahua. He has some element of like berserker powers. Like if he starts to rant and you don't stop him, he can just take a beating. He's strong enough to go toe to toe with Terry in the bat suit, and he's he's very good at explosives. That's all he's really got. Is he in the same dude? He's in a scene that makes you laugh. So which dude? Which dude is in me? That who are you talking about? Shameless. Um, I really like Stan. He's fun. He's kind of a goofy villain. Ghoul's great. Are we? Yeah, yeah. Ghoul. Okay, so S is like the villains are perfect. I want more of them forever. A is like I'd really like to see more of them. They're pretty great. They're not perfect. B is like I would definitely like more, but no, he's going to C. I can't with him anymore. B is like I would like to see more of them. If they never came back and their stories are complete, I get it. Um, yeah, you're going down to C. Sorry, big time. I just don't care about you, and I keep not liking that I'm putting you with people. Like as the B group is developing, I'm like, yeah, big time. You don't even get to be in the B group, big time. You're down in C. C is I don't really care about them. I don't need to see any more of them. I don't feel like they've reached their potential. And D is please don't bring these people back. D is like I don't need any more of them except maybe as like background characters. Um, is the old Batman? Yes. Oh, we're gonna be talking about some of that stuff. We're gonna be talking about some of that stuff. We've got there's your boy. There's Kronos. We'll be talking about him in a bit. But yeah, Matt Stan's fun. He gets to show up in a couple of episodes. He's always kind of like either he's kind of like either a secondary villain or a tertiary villain. He's almost never the main threat. Once or twice he is, but not too much. I think he's pretty fun. I'm gonna put him in A because I think he works for the concept of what he is. He's fun. I'd like to see more of him. I think you can keep going back to that well quite a bit and have some fun with him. All right, so let's change it up, and we've got now. This is one of Bruce's villains, who they brought back. That is way too big. Shrink it on down. All right, this is Mr. Freeze, who has basically become just a head by the time they arrested the disease that was destroying him. They've kept him alive in cryogenics for many years. During the course of the episode, they decide to put him in a new body, which then his disease resurfaces, and they are going to kill him to study him. This is all part of a thing that Derek Powers has. He's like, I'm going to cure my blight disease by testing it out on this guy. It's not great in terms of like trying to kill Mr. Freeze because that just seems like a bad idea. He has he tries to make good during the course of the episode. Like he founds a charitable organization to help the victims of his past crimes. Bruce is like, I don't believe that this guy is reformed at all. During the course of the episode, when they try to kill him, he brings out a futuristic version of his suit, which is like really beefed out and super strong, and he's bigger and tougher than ever. It's just like a bigger, bulkier, more high tech version of the Mr. Freeze suit. We love Mr. Freeze. He was really fun in this episode. He's like, him and Terry are basically like, I'm going to take myself out and try to take out everybody who messed with me. And Terry's like, please don't. And then we have to assume Mr. Freeze is dead. I'm gonna put Mr. Freeze in S. He's great. We love Mr. Freeze, and I would like to see him come back. I always think he's one of Batman's really cool villains. You see the Mr. Freeze gun a lot during the course of Batman Beyond 2, but it's a fun one. All right, so we've got another original Batman, Bruce Wayne villain. The Mr. Freeze episode was good. It was a good ep. I'm glad that they didn't, like... Part of me wishes they brought him back, but I'm like, I get why they didn't. Alright, so this is Trauma. Trauma is a villain who basically attacks people. He's linked to a therapy group, so, like, Terry's trying to figure out, like, is this support group being... The whole episode basically is like, who is Trauma? And why and he's attacking people who's like, you go and you complain about your boss, and Trauma shows up and beats the shit out of your boss. You complain about your teacher, he shows up and beats up your teacher. That's the whole episode, is and Terry trying to figure out who Trauma is. Trauma feels like a really, I don't like Trauma. I don't really want him to come back. I don't really have. He's a one and done villain, and we don't really see him come back again. He's just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. The episode's not terrible, but I don't really ever care if we see Trauma again. I don't want to. His design didn't really wow me. His motivation is kind of weak. He's just like, okay, whatever. All right, let's move on to somebody who I have more to say about. This group is gonna be fun. We got the Royal Flush Gang. This is Terry's Royal Flush Gang, which consists of King, Ace, Queen, Jack, and 10. They are a card-themed group of thieves. They are aristocratic. They are, they always act together for the most part. They fly around on giant playing cards, and they use, like, card-themed weapons and swords. They're a fun group. Terry fights them quite a lot during the course of the comics and the animated series. Every time they show up, I have fun with them. I think they're a cool group. I think they're interesting. It's a fun kind of like, they are a crime family. I'm gonna put them in S. I would gleefully take more Royal Flush Gang episodes any old time. I think they're a lot of fun to really kind of play with and mess around with. While we're here, let's just take care of the individual members of the family. And let's start off with, let's start with King. This is King. Pretty much always uses a sword. You can see that on his hip. He is the de facto leader of the group. He has a complex because he basically married into the family, and apparently his father-in-law was not very nice to him. And he does use playing cards. He ends up eventually just revealing that he is a complete douche. On top of being, a crime lord and everything, he betrays his family, and basically is just sort of a cliche. I will say I would like to see more of King. He works as a bad guy. He's pretty solid. He's not quite S by himself, but I would still put him in A tier. I'd like to see King make a return. Maybe as a solo with a new Royal Flush family, because we're going to talk about what happened to the rest of his family. And of course, there is no king if there is no queen. So let's talk about Queen. Queen is, again, very, very upper crusty. She uses a scepter that shoots his energy rays. She's part of the actual family. Her dad was the last king before her husband. Very high standards. She does care about her family. She does everything she can to kind of keep the family together. I'm going to say Queen is stronger than King. I would like to see Queen make a comeback and kind of put her in S tier because she does care about her family. In her own sick, twisted way, more so than King, to be sure. So yeah, I would put her all on her own. I would like to see Queen make a comeback and get to do more. I think she's a fun character, and I like her. Her voice actor did a lot of really good work in that series, too. Let's talk about Ace. Ace is a hulking, big robot. He is super strong. He is nigh invulnerable. He's not the most agile member of the group, but he is still pretty cool. Ace, again, one of those few characters that could just ragdoll Terry. You see him go toe-to-toe with Batman, with Superman in other iterations. The Ace robot is always really strong and really tough. I really like Ace. He's kind of just a henchman, but I'm still going to put him in S. I love Ace. I would like to see Ace do more. I think the Royal Flush Gang without Ace, he's kind of one of the backbones of this group. So yeah, we're going to put Ace up here. Which is funny because it's like, I like Ace more than I like So much. Ace is so much better than Big Time and literally never has a line. So it goes to show you, like, you can be a great character with no dialogue. The Boba Fett rule. All right, let's move past Ace. There are two versions of Ace, by the way. There is also Ace the dog. This is Ace the playing card. Ace the dog would also be S tier, but he is not a villain. Let me grab our next one. All right, let's talk about this guy. This is Jack. Jack is the young rogue of the group. We see him do a lot of acrobatics. He's usually got knives. He uses a fencing sword. Jack is kind of the weakest member of a strong group. His story ends with him basically seeming to reform after getting out of jail, and had to move your cat because she was trying to hit the power button on your PC, but quit. Yeah, I don't like Trauma either. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jack's going in D. I don't really care about seeing Jack again. I feel like Jack's story's done. I don't know that he's gonna stay reformed. If he came back, he never really shows any sort of great character. The voice actor does good work, but like he's just the weakest member of a strong group of characters, and I think that's part of what makes him not do so well. Bring him back as part of the Royal Flush Gang? Yes. Oh, it was Payback. You're right. He's Payback. I'm sorry. He's Payback. Trauma is Payback. I gave you the wrong name. He was like a trauma group, I think. I don't know. I barely remember that episode. Because I didn't like him that much. It's one of those episodes that I'm like, I forgot this episode existed until I went to do my research for this list. Alright, so here we got 10. 10 is another member of the Royal Flush Gang. 10 is basically Terry's take on Catwoman. 10 is a hacker. She's a cybernetics expert. Smash. Okay. She shows up when Terry and his girlfriend are having a fight, and they sort of have a thing. They flirt a lot. I think that they smashed during the course of the show. That is not confirmed, but there you go. She boasts a lot of the same abilities the rest of her family does. Playing card motif. She's a thief. She does actually reform. She gives up the life of crime and becomes. She works in a restaurant. Her and Terry kind of circle each other a few times during the course of the show. She helps her brother get a job after he leaves the family. I like 10. 10's a fun character. I think that she has that Catwoman dynamic. You can keep bringing her back and playing with her. I am going to put her very much in the S tier here. We like 10. 10's a fun character. Bring back. I should have done these two before. We're gonna circle back on a couple of characters here. All right. This is Deanna Clay. She is the daughter of Ink. We only see her one time. I included her in this list because she actively helps Ink with some crimes and perpetuates crimes of her own. She doesn't have any powers. She's just kind of a scammer and greedy and unpleasant. I'm gonna put Deanna in C. I don't really care if we ever see her again. She is not a terrible villain. I'll even put her above Big Time. She's not a terrible villain, but she just doesn't really stand out. She's just kind of there. It's like she does fine at doing what she is, but it's like, yeah, no. And then we're gonna do Erin. This is Erin Hapst. Erin is the technician that is in charge of keeping an eye on Ink while she is cryogenically frozen. He makes out with the block of ice that she's frozen into. Then he ends up getting fired because ew. I'm not kink shaming, but ew. That's just like, no, there was no consent, so it's really it's not even a kink. That's just, he's gross. He's just a gross character. He breaks her out because he gets fired, and then she finds him, and basically they're using each other. He's using her because he wants sex, and he wants superpowers like hers. She's using him because she needs a henchman because her powers are damaged by being frozen. The episode ends up with him basically in this mutated form where he's like half ink. Yes, we never kink shame, but we do question. Aaron is not a great villain. Yeah, we're gonna put Aaron down here in D. We don't really need to see more of Aaron. He's done. We're good. Let's roll right on by and never speak of Aaron again. We do get to talk about Shriek. Shriek is amazing. Shriek is one of Terry's original villains. Shriek is a scientist. He's a sound scientist. His expertise is the area of sound. He creates a suit. Originally, it was designed for like construction purposes, where he can create sonic vibrations that will destroy things. He's working for Derek Powers at the time, and Derek's like, "Well, your company is going to go bankrupt, but if you kill Batman, I'll pay for stuff." So that's basically how Shriek starts his career as a supervillain. He's sent as a hired gun to keep his company afloat to kill Bruce Wayne. And then he fights Batman, and then he comes back for revenge because during the course of their first fight, he loses his hearing. He makes it so the whole city can't understand each other. He fights the Justice League once or twice. He fights Terry a few times and almost beats him every time he shows up. He is a really cool villain. I love the design. He's really, really fun. I'm putting him in S. He is a great original Batman Beyond villain. Because he's not like so powerful that like he can level a city, but I'm gonna put him even up here. There. And we'll put 10 here. We'll put the DDs here. There you go. Just because I like rearranging things. I'll put Dr. Cuvier down here. Alright. Yeah, Shriek is great. He's one of Terry's original villains, and one of his really strong ones. And while we're here, let's talk about Ollie. Oh, Ollie. Oh, Ollie. Alright, this is Ollie. Ollie is Shriek's assistant in one of the episodes. You only see him one time. He's kind of just a dumb kid. He's definitely undergone some kind of splicing. Shriek gives him a fork that stimulates the pleasure centers of his brain with sonic vibrations. I'll be 100% honest with you. Ollie does not do that much, but he does almost help to take over the city. And he does kind of fight Batman. I'm going to put Ollie in C. I would kind of like to see more of Ollie. I'd like to see him show up again, maybe, but if he didn't, I get it. I think he's a fun foil for Shriek. Shriek is great, and Ollie is just kind of like... He's just kind of got, like, stoner vibes. He doesn't really do much, but that's okay. Let's roll right along here to another original Terry villain. Yeah, he's just high and chilling the whole episode with that fork. This is Spellbinder. Spellbinder is another original Terry villain. He starts off as a high school therapist, guidance counselor, whatever you want to call him. Very much the same sort of vibe as like Scarecrow or Mad Hatter. He's all into basically like mind control and holograms. He's sort of also got Mysterio vibes to him. He's a neat character. I really like Spellbinder. He has a cool design. He flies around on this thing that looks kind of looks like a giant robot hornet. He is neat. He's a neat character. One of Terry's mainstay villains. He, again, kind of like Shriek, kind of like Ink, stands on his own. I'm gonna put him up here in S too. He's really, really fun, and I like him, and all of his episodes are really strong. He deals with a lot of different... He always has a plan. His plans always kind of center on either revenge or money. He's either trying... Or recognition. He's just kind of like, no one was nice to me, so I'm going to, get my revenge. Because he has a big ego. And then we got Stalker. Stalker is a big game hunter who is mauled by a panther. Stalker is he has his spine replaced. Yes, the episode with Barbara. Yes. Um, yes, that was a really good episode. Batman Beyond's a great show. Like if this tier list is like you're like who are these characters? I'm like, hey, go check out Batman Beyond. It's a fun show. Stalker is basically like I'm going to hunt Batman because he's the best prey because it's kind of similar to how like Kraven the Hunter's like I'm going to hunt Spider-Man because I am too good of a hunter. Stalker kind of follows the same motif, but he has some degree of superpowers because of his spine. Like he beat a panther in single combat. He has enhanced senses. He has, I would say, he has at least some element of super strength, superhuman agility. He uses a lot of like high tech hunting gear. Like he has a spear, he has javelins, he has nets and tracking devices and things. He's a fun character. We only see him a few times during the course of the show. I would say at one time he teams up with Terry to fight Cobra because the government's like, we're going to basically Suicide Squad this. But he's always obsessed with like, I will hunt the Batman and beat him. Terry beats him a couple of different ways during the course of the show, and we don't really see him much after that. Yeah, he okay, here's why I like him, and I will refer to some characters as discount characters. I'll even do one of them next just to illustrate the difference. I think that he has similarities to Kraven. I would not call him discount Kraven just because he has a distinct story that's all his own and a personality that is all his own. His motivations are very Kraven-like, and like he kind of has a similar motif, but I still really like him. I think he's fun. I'm putting him in S. He's a fun character. I think he's neat. I'd like to see more of Stalker come back. So let's talk about a discount character. For a sec here, just to illustrate my thought process on why Stalker is one and this guy, or Stalker is not one and this guy is. All right. Let's talk about this guy. So, during one of the episodes, called The Winning Edge, there is some people are basically using, people are using venom, in order to basically have a short-term shot of super strength. Green Arrow yes. Green Arrow is discount Batman though. but like I know you're joking, Seamus, but like yeah, he is Green Arrow 100% is discount Batman because he's like it's like you have the Arrow Cave, you have the Arrow car. He's like, yeah, I kind of just copied a lot of what you did. He has bows. For most of his career, he wasn't a fighter. He's very much discount Batman for a long time. This dude basically is Bane's caretaker. He is selling venom in patches and just trying to make money off of it. Terry tracks down Bane. This guy is there. Eventually, he reveals himself. He uses Bane patches. He uses venom patches to try to fight Batman. And then Terry just like slaps a bunch of these patches on him and takes him out. We never see him again after that. My thought process is that much venom, he OD'd to the point where, yes, it should be called the Quiver. We don't really see him again after that. I think he's either dead or incapacitated. I'm going to put him down here in C. Because, like, I think you could bring him back and do something with him, but I'll even put him, like, maybe the top of C. I said I wasn't going to really do the tiers, but, like, he's, like... he feels like wasted potential in some ways. He's just like, dude, we could do more with this guy. But then again, you can always take the idea of this character and the patches and bring back someone else, like an evil Hour Man or something. I don't know. He's not the strongest. The episode The Winning Edge is kind of neat, but he is not the strongest villain. And you see Bane, and you're like, oh my god, we're gonna get a Bane episode, and it's like, no, it's discount Bane. It's Bane from Wish. Alright, let me grab our next villain. There we go. Alright. This is the Earth Shaker, the Earth Mover. This is a guy who undergoes an industrial accident and is basically trapped in a mine and then left there for years with chemicals. They keep him alive. It's General Value Bane, yes. They keep him alive. They keep him in this sort of like zombified state. He's able to control the earth, so he's basically like an earthbender. He can make earthquakes. He can make sinkholes. He can create constructs made out of dirt and rock and move them around. He's only in one episode. You find out that basically he wants revenge on his former partner because he blames him for the industrial accident that left him in this state. The partner, I think, genuinely did not mean for that accident to happen. He adopted his daughter. He tried to do good by him, but it's one of those episodes that's sad because everybody in it is wrong and everybody in it is right. And this is a cool villain. We only see him the one time. I'm going to put him in B. I think you could bring this guy back as a fun villain to play with and do some things with. He's not terrible. I wouldn't put him in A. He's not so bad that I would put him lower. But his story may be complete. I think you could bring him back a few times and get some more fun stories out of him. All right. We got another, that is again an original Batman Beyond villain, and we have another one here. So let's talk about Willie. Let's talk about Willie. This is Willie Watt. Willie Watt is a kid in Terry's school who gets picked on, and he uses high-tech machinery to try to get revenge on the people who picked on him. And as a result, he gets telekinetic powers. We see Willie twice. In one episode, he's controlling a giant mechanized piece of construction equipment. And in the other episode, he is pretending to be a ghost and then trying to beat up his high school bullies. Also, he buffs out while he's in juvenile hall. Willie feels like a lot of squandered potential. Because his whole motivation is the kids in school were mean to me, so I'm going to take it out on them. My dad was mean to me, so I'm going to get revenge. He never really grows. He only gets 2 episodes, and neither one of them I think is like the strongest episode. I'm gonna put Willie's gonna be our new bar for C. I don't care if we ever bring Willie back, because I feel like he's just gonna repeat the same things. Like he's gonna be like in some middle manager's office from some dude he went to high school with, who's like, dude, this guy gave me a wedgie like 14 years ago. I'm gonna go mess up his office with my. It's like, dude, you would be great for like. He's prime candidate for like a Suicide Squad. You know, it's like you're wasting your powers. Like that may be what this is. Like we get like big time Ollie. Discount, great value, great Dollar General Bane, and Willie Watt. Maybe that's what the C list will end up being. Maybe that's how we redeem them. I don't know. We'll see. I forgot to do this guy before, so let me grab him because I should have done him a while ago. And I am just a goof. Because I really like this character too. And he's touched on 2 things that I've already talked about, so I'm like, I could have done him with either of them. Where is it? There it is. Okay. See, come back for better. Yeah. This is so this is one of the believe it or not, this is a Joker. He is a Joker that went in for splicing. He has been combined with, I believe, hyena DNA to make him more animalistic. All he ever does is really kind of like laugh. He does have humanoid intelligence, but he is very like his speech is kind of just either he doesn't talk or we never hear him talk. You see him in Return of the Joker. You see him in the Justice League Unlimited episodes with Terry. I love the idea of Jokers going in for splicing, and I kind of wish that he had a counterpart so we could have the two spliced Jokers. But I also love that he's unique. He's the only one that went that extra mile. We love Wolf. He's great. Wolf is gonna go up here in S. I'm gonna put Wolf up here in the S tier. I love Wolf. You can have him show up anytime. He's great. We love Wolf. He is one of the stronger Jokers. Very similar to the DDs. Fun character. I'd like to see him do something. I don't think he'd ever be a standalone villain, but I think he works great as a henchman in the background. Like maybe like the DDs go out on their own and they take what. I'd love to see like the DDs reform, and they bring Wolf to try to reform, and it's the three of them like trying to be a Joker crime fighting duo, or trio. I think that'd be fun. I think that has potential. Wolf has potential. I like the character. I should have done him before, but I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here. Let me do... Alright, so we did... Alright, so this next character, this is another one and done. He doesn't show up after this episode, but that's okay. Let me just grab him here. I'm trying to find the image for him here. Sorry. So this guy's name is Robert Vance. He is a former... wouldn't that basically be a team that Harley and her hyenas then caused? Yes. I would watch that team. I'd be psyched. I would hang out with it. But yeah, this is Robert Vance. He is a former tech mogul who basically digitized his brain so he could guide his company from beyond the grave. He is somewhat limited in what he does. Like during the course of the episode, he has two plans. First, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go out and just mess with stuff. So he causes a bunch of like cyber crimes to happen, and then he takes over the Batsuit, and Terry has to fight him as just Terry. It's that episode where it's like, am I actually Batman, or am I like only Batman because of the suit? And his plan is basically to put his brain in his grandson's body and take over the company and just go out and live again. He's a fun idea. He has some neat stuff in that episode. He's not terrible. I'd put him in B. I think we could bring him back. Terry basically destroys him, but technology and stuff, I think it'd be interesting to see him make a comeback and do some more stuff. I think he has potential. And, oh god, here we go. Alright, we're gonna get into some Starro. We're going to the stars. Stars. Alright, so this is Starro. We're gonna do this as a two-parter because there's two things with this. So Starro is a starfish-shaped alien that can control your mind by clinging onto you. This version of Starro was captured by an alien that basically kept it in a zoo. Then Superman rescued it and kept it in his place in the Fortress of Solitude for years. And it managed to eventually glom onto Superman and control him for years. It tries to take over the world by infecting everyone with Starros. Terry and the Justice League of the Justice League Beyond, Justice League of the Future, uh, barely manage to stop that plot, and then they proceed to basically return Starro to its home planet, where we never hear from it again in the show. Um, I am going to put this Starro in A because it is a pretty cool villain. Um, it reforms, but maybe we could play with it again. Starro always has potential, and I like Starro. It's a fun bad guy to play with. It's not even really a bad guy. It's like, I am going to take over this planet. I am tired of being pushed around. It has a lot of potential. And I know they're doing a run with Starro right now and Beast Boy, so that's kind of cool. Let's talk about the counterpart to this. So there is also the Superman, controlled by Starro, who very nearly defeats the Justice League. Terry has to fight him. We find out Superman's been controlled by Starro for years. He is... It is, like, really scary to see an older Superman who is being controlled, who has all of his knowledge, skills, abilities, and powers, and is like, it's like, yes, he's infiltrated the Justice League for years. This version of Superman has probably helped to save the planet at least a few times. He knows everything Superman knows. He has completely infiltrated, like, this is like Pod Person. This is just good. I am going to put a Starro-controlled Superman in S tier for sure. He's fun. The villain's fun. I count him as a villain because he does... It's these two together. It's this combination that jumps Starro up to an S. Because, like, all of Superman's powers and charisma and, like, oh, no. Alright, we're gonna do... Oh, okay. Okay. Let's grab you. Let's grab the next one. Alright, this is Terminal. Terminal is a Joker. He's one of Terry's classmates. He has his own little Joker gang. He's a high-achieving school student. He only shows up in one episode. Basically, his whole thing is like, Max, Terry's best friend, beats him in school achievements. So he has decided to take her out so he can be valedictorian. Also, Max designs a program that will guess the identity of Jokers in her school. The program does not quite work because it guessed that Terry is a Joker and he's not. And Terminal basically turns the school into like a death trap for Batman and Max, and that's his whole thing. Terminal's going in C. He's not great. He's like, I'm really smart. Again, this is feeling like a Suicide Squad. This is feeling more and more like a Suicide Squad. But yeah, I'm putting Terminal in C. I'll put Terminal above Big Time. No, I'm going to put him below Big Time. He doesn't have any powers. He's not really... He's like, I'm really smart. That's his whole deal. That's all he's really got going for him. I don't love him as a character. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about him. But we're going to transition over to a character that I do really like. This is another of Terry's original villains. Who I think a lot of people are going to love Curare. Curare, however you want to say it. She is an assassin. We see her a couple of times during the course of the show. Basically, she comes in and she uses a sword that is honed to such a fine edge that it can slice an atom in half. So she can cut through basically probably anything. Highly trained, highly acrobatic. We never see her face during the show. You only see like her unmasked one time, and you never see the face. You just see everyone react like, "Oh my god!" She takes out the entire League of Assassins after she fails her mission, and she shows up a few times to fight Batman. Usually, it's a contract. One time, it's because he's allied with her enemies. Um, I would say most of her she's interesting because she's not just like I lost my first fight to Batman, now I'm out for revenge. Um, Smash, fair enough. I'm gonna put her again, similar to Spellbinder and Shriek. I'm gonna put her up here. She's great. We love Karare. She is a fun villain. I think you can go back to her a lot. She to me is S tier all the way. This is kind of like the quartet of like these are Terry's really, really good original villains. They're all awesome. They're all kind of homages to other things, but they're super fun. All right. And we go from the awesomeness of Karare to this. She has really good fights. Yeah, the fights are cinematic. So, all right, we're going to talk about the tease. So, I think that they decided that there needed to be another gang in Gotham. And the tease were that they came up with. This is technically a specific T in the foreground here. This is a guy named Fat T, who's like the leader of the T's. The T's are just a street gang. They don't really ever do much of anything. They are like all we ever really see them do is like petty crimes and get in fights with the Jokers. I will say I like them better than the Jokers just because they're a little different, but they're D. I don't care about the T's. They're kind of boring, to be honest with you. It's like, okay, you're down here. Um, like if you're gonna have a street gang in Gotham, they've got to like stand out. You know, they've got to be something different. But we have another one and done villain with Ma Mayhem. Ma Mayhem and her sons, who I did not give their own tiles because one is really big and strong and dumb, and one is really small and smart. That's their whole thing. Her whole episode is basically she is trying to steal a set of rubies that were part of her first score with her husband, who apparently ran off with some other woman. We only see her the one time. She has some element of like, I don't know if it's just because she's large, but she's a very big lady. She is able to kind of like ragdoll Terry a couple of times. I'm gonna say with her, like, again, she's not great, but she does fine for that for a one and done. I'm gonna put her in C. I don't care if we bring her back. If we did, I think she kind of works best like for like heist episodes, and then she can just be done. I don't really want to see her become like a mainstay villain. We have better options for that. All right, this is Patrick Fitz. Patrick Fitz is a man who has the features of a rodent. Patrick is in one episode. Patrick has basically been living in the sewers beneath Gotham because he looks like a rat. People pick on him, so he goes underground and lives down there in the sewers. He has a bunch of he has a bunch of rats of varying sizes that live with him. Some of them are like the size of dogs. Some of them are just like regular sized rats that he's learned to control. We find out during the course of this episode, basically Dana and Terry have a fight. Patrick abducts Dana, and we find out he's been abducting people he thinks are neglected or abused off the streets and using them, bringing them down to the sewer so that they can be friends and he can protect them and make them feel better. That's his way of putting it. We're going to go with what it actually is. He's abducting people, and then he murders them because they don't reciprocate what he's about. He is very clearly enamored with Dana, and when she rejects him, he's like, I'm gonna kill you. They called me names. He kind of has like a Toyman vibe from the Grey Ghost episode too. He's not a great villain. He doesn't really like have a plan besides from abduct people. I'm gonna put him very much in C. He's like, it's like we don't need to bring him back. He can be a one and done. He might be part of our little Suicide Squad down here. Like again, Amanda Wall's like, rat boy. Okay, yeah, controls rats. Like I can work with that. All right, and then we have one of Bruce's villains who made a comeback because he always needs to come back. Ra's al Ghul. Raish comes back as a uh, he comes back possessing the daughter of Talia al Ghul. We find out that Raish fought Batman and Talia one more time, and his body was destroyed. So he had to put his consciousness into Talia's body, and he's remained there for years. He basically comes back when Bruce is feeling his age and offers him restored youth and the chance to reclaim his glory years. Again, also probably sex because he's in Talia's body at that time. Um, what ends up happening is Raish's plan is to put his consciousness into Bruce's body and pretend to be the long lost love child of Talia al Ghul and Bruce Wayne, go back to Gotham, take over the company, and start up his empire again. This is probably one of Raish's worst plans. It's very Saturday morning. Um, for a lot of reasons. One of them is why would you not just like do the transfer and then make yourself younger? Um, I don't know. It's just like, okay, yeah, we don't love this plan. Raish is still a pretty good villain. We're gonna put him in A. I think you can do more with Raish. He always comes back. I'm not gonna give him S because Raish is like always got like Raish has either got amazing plans or terrible plans. And this is an example of one of his bad plans. So yeah, we're gonna give Raish an A for this iteration of him. And let's roll along here. This is the Repeller. Alright, so the Repeller has a suit that repels things. It repels matter, solid objects, energy. Basically, he's completely invulnerable while he has this suit. It's used for medical purposes, and he's repurposed it. Terry meets him while he is doing. I forget the circumstances of how he met them, but like basically Terry is helping people who are using the technology for medical purposes, and this dude's using it for crimes. He's a cool villain. We only get him for one episode. I think he could definitely do more. I'm gonna put him in A. I think that a villain who you literally can't touch has a lot of potential, and if he had another episode and we got to see him kind of grow and do more, I might put him in S. But for right now, he's gonna hang out here in the A tier. All right, let's go with. This is the Society of Assassins. So this is who Curare works for. They are a group of various assassins who basically assign targets, and you see Curare there. She ends up killing all of them when they try to kill her. I love the design of like all of the different assassins on screen. I think this is a fun idea. We didn't really get to do much with it. There's not much to say about them. I'm going to put them in A. I think that they could be revived and have some fun stuff. Karare's stronger on her own. They're fun as a group, like, you know, Cobra and the Cult of Assassins. Or the Society of Assassins. Alright. Moving right along here. Let me grab this guy, because we should have done him before, and I didn't. So let me grab him real quick. This is the Golem. So this is the robot that Willie Watt uses for the purposes of smashing up the joint in his first appearance. The Golem is a big piece of mechanized construction equipment. It is not sentient. Willie is controlling it. And it has a cool design. I'm going to put this thing over here in C. I don't think we really need, like, it does, because again, it's just a robot. It doesn't have any control or motivation, but it was cool for that one episode, and it was scary. I'm happy with it as a C. I don't think we need to bring it back. I think that it's good staying down there in the C tier. For now, let me grab you. All right. Actually, we'll come back to her. We're gonna do this a little differently. Yeah, the squad needs a mech. Absolutely. Let me grab a different character here. This is Bullwhip. So, Terry fights a gang of people who have had weaponized cybernetic enhancements at one point. Bullwhip is the de facto leader. He has, like, basically whips in his wrist that he can whip stuff with. His whole thing is basically, we're going to do crimes and be cool. During the course of the episode, you find out we're going to have a lot to say about these guys, but Bullwhip is a pretty cool villain. We only really see him the one time. He's probably dead. I'm going to put him as a solid B. He's not really good enough to stand toe-to-toe with the A-listers. He's definitely not an S. I would like to see him make a comeback in some form or another. He is the leader of his group. That's pretty much his whole thing. And he gets taken out. That's his story. Let's talk about his gang. He's got Terrapin, who has... So here's the problem with this. Some of these guys got very cool enhancements, and some of them got very stupid enhancements. Terrapin is a really big dude whose whole body is just mech'd out. He is just heavily armed. We see him run through walls. He can take an enormous amount of abuse. He is kind of a cool brute force guy. I'm going to put him in B. I'd like to see Terrapin come back. He has a cool design. He's basic. He's kind of a dumb henchman, but I think we could bring him back as part of the gang and let him have some fun. Because, you know, the gang needs a big, tough guy. This dude, and that is way too big. This dude, I never got his name. I never got a name for this guy. I don't know if we ever found out his name, but basically he has like chainsaws in his hands and in his legs. And they're enhanced, so like you see him like cutting through rock and stuff very easily. They're not like regular chainsaws. It's a cool idea, and the chainsaws are pretty scary. And I could definitely see bringing him back. I would put him in B. I think these three you could bring back pretty readily as B-listers. They work for their episode. We never see them again, and we'll talk about why in a few minutes. Let's talk about the last of this little quartet here. This is the one that... Yeah, Terry's just like, I am done. I don't... Just do it. Just do it, man. Like, I can't with this. Alright. This guy's name is Nux. He has, like, cybernetic fists, so he can punch stuff really hard. I hate him for two reasons. That is a really stupid thing to get cybernetically enhanced with. Like, okay, so what are you guys doing? Like, oh, I'm gonna have, like, whips in my arm. Like, oh, that's cool. What about you? I'm going full mech, full body, completely covered, heavily armored tank. Okay, cool. What about you? Chainsaw arms and legs. All right, what's your deal? I want to punch stuff really hard. It's like, I'm sorry, what? And his name is Nux, which sounds like he's like Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog. You're a C-lister, dude. You're dragging the rest of this group down. Your face is unprotected. Your chest is unprotected. I don't like Nux. He is the worst member of that group, by far. And we will roll right on. Yeah, it's the gorilla arms. He's got the weak design. He's not that great. We don't like him. We do not jive with him. All right. Let's talk about Dr. Peter Corso. Dr. Peter Corso is the cyberneticist who did all the work on the previous four individuals we were talking about. He only appears in one episode. During the course of that episode, you find out that these four men have apparently abducted his beloved wife, April, and they are holding her hostage, forcing him to give them the enhancements and to repair them when they're damaged. He basically has a kill code for the cybernetics, but he won't give it to Batman because he's worried that something will happen to his wife. We'll have a little bit more to say about him in a minute. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This guy is scary, and he's smart, and I think he has the potential to be a really good villain much better than these others. I'm going to put him up here because smart, motivated people are scary. And even though he's not a villain for most of this episode, we'll talk about why he's going up higher in a minute. Let's talk about his wife. Let's talk about April. So, during the course of this same episode, this is April Corso, we find out that April was planted in the doctor's office. Yeah, he's a pretty good, yeah. She basically is there to seduce him, marry him, and then to be abducted by Bullwhip so that they can use her as a hostage. When you see her, she's wearing kind of like bad girl clothes. Like she goes from like, you know, like a nurse outfit to like bad girl clothes, and like it's just like okay. And she's making out with Bullwhip, and then Dr. Corso murders Bullwhip. We don't see it on screen, but basically Bullwhip goes to him and he's like, he doesn't know that the doctor knows. And Bullwhip's like, oh yeah, she really misses you. And he's like, uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's great. And then we never see those characters again. I'm going to put her in C. I'm going to put her in C. The reason she's down here is she's just like stereotypically like a femme fatale, but she's not really a character in and of herself. She's not really all that interesting. She's just like, I'm a bad girl. I'm doing bad girl stuff. And we don't really find out anything about her. She never comes back. We never hear anything more about her. She's just kind of there. I'm going to jump ahead for a sec because I do want to talk about this character just because he's on screen and I don't really have too much, but like, okay. So this is a future version of Parasite. We only see him in the epilogue episode that kind of like rounds out the Batman Beyond story. Yes. Oh no, he didn't use the kill code on him. He sedated him to put him through surgery, and the last sound you hear is the sound of like power drills going on as he sedates this guy. The kill code just like deactivated the cybernetics. So this version of Parasite is like more monstrous. We don't really get to see him do anything. I like Parasite. I think he's cool. I like this redesign. I'm gonna put this Parasite in B. He basically is there. The Justice League takes him out. I think it'd be fun to see him come back. I like Parasite. I can't justify putting him any higher than this because, again, he doesn't really do anything. But we're gonna put him there and call it a day. Let's talk about a couple of these other guys here. We're jumping around a little bit because I want to. This is Ronnie Boxer. Ronnie Boxer is a complete piece of shit. Ronnie Boxer is a guy who trains dogs for dogfighting. He used to own Ace. Ace escaped, and he only shows up in one episode, and you find out he's been using like technology and splicing to make like giant dogs. The whole episode centers on Batman basically tracking him down and Ace being missing. Ronnie Boxer's a piece of shit. People who dogfight are pieces of shit. He's in D forever. I never want to see this guy again. He is a complete scumbag, and we don't need to ever bring him back. So let's just not. Some of these are going to be a little quicker just because there's less to say about some of these guys. This is Simon Harper. Simon Harper basically created... It's a video game that is very like... He kind of like is like... It feels like this episode was like a Star Wars ripoff because it's all like Guardians of the Cosmos. And he basically convinces people that the game is real. He gives them high-tech weapons and sends them out to do crimes for him. He gives himself some element of powers with, like, he can shoot lightning, and he's got, like, high-tech weapons. Hey, L-Train, how's it going? Thanks for coming by. Simon Harper, kind of a weak villain. I'm gonna put him in C. I could see maybe bringing him back, but he's not Terry's strongest villain by any stretch of the imagination, and he's a one and done. So yeah, we're gonna roll right on past him. Let's see. Okay, let's grab. This is Paxton Powers. Paxton is Derek Powers' kid. He is Derek Powers with twice the ego and half the skill. He basically tries to kill his dad, tries to do a couple of heists. None of it ever really works out for him. And yeah, he is eventually arrested and taken out. Paxton is not that interesting. I think he's just a worse version of his dad in every way. I'm gonna put him down in D. I don't really care if we see Paxton again. I would much rather we bring back the older, smarter version than the younger, more arrogant, stupider version. Let me grab. Since we're here, let's talk about his secretary, his assistant, Sable Thorpe. Sable Thorpe. Okay, so here's how basically Sable ends up. Sable betrays Paxton with King. They're basically trying to steal Paxton's collection of stolen antiquities. Sable is capable, no superpowers, but she does demonstrate, martial arts abilities, gymnastics, weapons handling. She's able to fight Batman for a few minutes. She can handle herself very, very well. I feel like she's wasted potential. I think Sable has enough corporate secrets and enough drive to step out and do her own thing. I would like to see her make a comeback. I'm going to put her up here in B. I think she can do more than she's been allowed to do. She kind of has Mercy vibes, so I'm here for it. Let's bring her back and do some fun stuff with Sable. But that is really all there is to say about her, because you don't get to see too much. Alright, let's talk about this douchebag. This is David Wheeler. David Wheeler is a child psychologist who basically is using, your children are all bad and you should let me abuse them so that they will behave so I can break their minds and make them be loyal to me. Again, he's another one and done. Not a nice guy. We don't like him. He is a complete scumbag. I'm going to put him in D. We don't really need to bring him back. I think he's done. And I honestly don't want more episodes like the one that he's in. Yes, the ISO episode. I don't want to see him again. I feel like he works for the episode he's in. I'm just like, yeah, you can go. We don't need to hear any more from you. We don't need to hear any more from him. He's creepy and he's done. Let's talk about this dude. This is Ian Peake. Ian Peake is a guy who stole the technology to become intangible. He's a reporter. He's like a gossipist. He's a sensationalist. He basically uses his intangibility powers to get scoops on people. He finds out Bruce Wayne is actually Batman and threatens to, tell the whole city. This is an episode that, again, this is a one and done. He basically loses control of his powers and ends up sinking into the center of the earth. Yeah, it is well deserved. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I think we can do more with this guy. But I don't think he deserves to be a B-lister. We're going to put him in C. His story feels done. He's a complete scumbag. He's not really a good, you can't touch him. He's kind of you got this guy up here, the repeller, and then you've got this dude who's just I'm Ian Peaks. Okay. Again, this squad down here feels very someone call Amanda Waller. There's some Suicide Squad potential here. He's not that cool. He has a cool design, I guess, but he's not that interesting. Welcome to the squad. Well, okay. Because you made that joke, Train, I'm going to go out of order, and we're going to do something that I was going to do later, but Train made a joke, and it traffics with something I'm going to do, so we're going to talk about this douchebag. Oh my god. This is Jason Bennett. Jason Bennett No, you're good, Trade. Jason Bennett is a government agent who is basically if J. Jonah Jameson was given government clearance. He does nothing during all of his time except try to catch a robot. He's like, bring me that Andrew. Oh, I'm gonna get him. Oh, I'm gonna get that Zeta and I'm gonna spank him. Like, what? Yeah, I'm gonna get him and then I'll show him all. And oh, he does completely will not see reason. He shows up in 2 episodes of Batman. And then they did the Zeta spinoff, which was fun. But he's basically antagonist of Zeta. He shows up once and is basically like, hey, Batman, this android is really bad and you should help me catch him. Complete douchebag. J. Jonah Jameson as a... I love the Zeta spinoff. I'm going to put this guy in B. He works as a stupid government villain. Can't take the shades of his... No, he should not be taken seriously. He is a douchebag. I'm going to put him in B because he works really well as a stupid government antagonist. I do not want him to become a main villain on his own. His plans are terrible. And we are going to roll right along to a much better character. And we're going to talk about the boy. Zeta. This is Zeta. Zeta is on the villain tier list because Zeta is technically an antagonist for 1 episode. I like Zeta. I like this version of Zeta more than the spin-off version of Zeta. I get why we got the spin-off version of Zeta. In the spin-off, they made Zeta have like a more humanoid-shaped head. And they gave him... so Zeta is an android. He specializes in espionage, assassination, and infiltration. Basically, the idea is he can hologram into anybody, get close to his target, take them out, and then escape. All of these like little ribs on his chest here. They are like I'm trying to put my cursor over it, but I can't. Yeah. I liked Row. Zeta's a great show. I feel like the budget for Batman Beyond was bigger than the Zeta budget. Like the lines were a lot cleaner in this version, and I just think this head shape was cooler. His little ribs were guns. He gets rid of those. He gets rid of all of his weapons. Row was fun. Zeta's a really fun show. If you like future tech, if you like Batman Beyond, check out Zeta. It's a fun show. It's a lot lighter than Batman Beyond. They end up becoming friends. I like Zeta. Zeta is S. Zeta is an S tier. We want more Zeta. Please bring back Zeta. I would love... Zeta's a villain in 2 episodes. Because Zeta gets hooked up with Mad Stan and turned into a bomb. So he's a secondary antagonist once. So... I like Zeta. I would love to see Zeta come back as a Justice Leaguer or more stuff with Zeta. Zeta's S tier. We love Zeta. If you don't like Zeta, that's fine, but I like Zeta, and it's my tier list. Go to your own. Alright, let's talk about this, because we had some talk of him earlier, so let's cover another villain while we're here. Actually, no. I'm going to save him. Let's talk about this creepy dude. This is Edgar Mandragora. Edgar Mandragora is part of the Brain Trust. He is a psychic. He has super powerful telekinetic abilities. Terry fights him one-on-one and almost gets killed. He's very, 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 very powerful. He's a very cool villain in and of himself. He is part of the Brain Trust, which is a group of psychics who use their powers for evil. This is one of the best fights, I think, in the entire show, is him fighting these two. He's scary, and we never hear or see from him again. I'm going to put him in S. He's a generally unsettling bad guy. I would like to see him make a comeback and do more stuff with this character. He's very, very scary. He has a cool design. I'd like to see more of him. Now, let's talk about his partners in crime here, his buddies. Give me one sec. I messed everything up. That's not what I meant to do at all. No, I messed up my stuff. No. Okay, well, I'll fix that later. I'll fix it later. It's a really good fight. There are some good fights in that episode. That one by far to me is the best one, though. Right, let's grab this individual. All right, so in that same episode, we see him fight this guy. This guy's whole thing is like mind over matter. He doesn't feel pain. He can just basically, I'm going to say he has some degree of super strength too. Terry just wails on him for the whole episode and he doesn't feel it. Eventually he just gets blown up. And he survives. He is a cool kind of, he's not as cool as Mandragora by a wide stretch. I'm going to put him in A. I'd like to see him make a comeback. He is, because, like, again, he's invulnerable. He has psychic powers. He's a neat member of the Brain Trust. I think we could do some cool stuff with him and play with him some more and, like, you know, have some fun. He does kind of look like he does kind of look like blonde Bruce Wayne. Alright, this is Bombshell. She is another member of the Brain Trust. Her power is to create explosions. She is a nasty lady. I will be 100% honest with y'all. I think she's by far the weakest member of the Brain Trust in terms of how interesting she is. I'm going to put her in B. She's just a mean lady who ends up taking out the invulnerable man. She's abducted a child and wants to basically use her powers. I don't like her. We don't need to see her again, but she is still pretty cool. Right, let me grab my next image source here. Okay, this one, oh my god, okay, come on, let me grab the right image, please. Yeah, she is kind of like Yzma with the eyebrows. Okay. I'm just going to be hidden for a second. I'm fine with that. This is the Brain Trust as a whole. This is the little girl they abducted. I couldn't find an image with all of them. So Mandragora is part of this group, and they have other members who are less powerful and have fewer lines, so I didn't give them their own things. The Brain Trust as a whole is a cool group. I would like to see them come back. I think psychic powers as a supervillain trope is neat. Similar to the Royal Flush Gang, I think Mandragora by himself is S tier. Royal Flush Gang by themselves are S tier. Ten's S tier. Like, I think they work really well. It's Atomic. Welcome back, Atomic. I am almost done with my tier list. Let me grab my next one here. Alright, this is another absolute scumbag, dirtball human being. And this is from an episode that I think a lot of people forgot about. So, there's an episode where Terry teams up with a super intelligent gorilla who is trying to find his mom and is, like, basically been genetically modified to have superhuman intelligence and be he's a very good gorilla. That's his whole thing. He's a gorilla that's really, really intelligent. I had a lot of fun. Like, I forget this episode exists most of the time. Like, I was doing this, I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, oh yeah, it's that dude. He's not a bad villain in and of himself. Basically, his whole deal is like, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of episodes with gorillas. Okay. His name is James Van Dyne. He has this cybernetic eye that has, like, various, like, heat vision, x-ray vision. His whole thing is, I am a world-famous animal conservationist. I help the environment. What I actually do is poach. I am a poacher. I am a poacher and a big game hunter, and I'm a complete dirtball scumbag. And this gorilla by all rights, should pound me into face. But what they do instead is Terry convinces him to turn this guy over for human justice. And then they take the gorilla back to the jungle so that it can protect the other animals. We love that gorilla. The gorilla is great. This guy's a scumbag. Poachers are scumbags. People who hurt animals are pieces of shit. I am going to put him in B because he's a piece of shit, and I think that he should be ruined and have to resort to crime to, like, come back. Actually, no. Because you're a piece of shit, you go in C. You don't get to be up here. You're down here, shithead. So yeah, go down there. Poophead. Don't hurt animals. Alright, so we're gonna go right on past him. So this is our last one. This is our last villain. And I saved him for last because he's the last villain we see Terry fight. Yes. Great value. He has that feel. Alright. This is Kronos. Kronos, the master of time. This is a guy who invented time travel, and he was using it to steal little things that no one would miss, like Cleopatra's hairbrush or Napoleon's tweezers. His wife basically is like, you're an idiot. Why would you invent time travel to do that and not use it to get rich? So basically, to show his wife what for, he starts breaking the timeline. No. Originally, he's a scientist, and his whole deal is like, I want to collect trinkets from history that won't do any damage. And he knows that doing more than that will cause damage to the timeline. So then his wife yells at him. So he causes massive disruptions to the timeline, basically takes over the world, gets lost in time a few times. The Justice League basically is chasing this guy for multiple episodes. Terry ends up fighting him. He gives the Joker's superpowers. And then when the Justice League and Terry and everybody beat him, his last ditch move is to go to the beginning of time to try and essentially become God and remake the universe in his image. It doesn't work, and we never see or hear from Kronos again. Kronos, you have the power of an S tier villain, and initially, like, you're thinking of like, I love the idea of you. I love the idea of Kronos as like, I just steal little trinkets, and they're like, yes, but then like it causes a problem. The fact that you like knew you were destroying the timeline, and every time you just escalate because your wife is mean to you, and that you didn't use your time traveling powers to just go back in time and not get married, or to, do literally anything else with that. I'm putting you in the C tier, buddy. You have an S tier power, and you have a C tier attitude. Do better. If your spouse is not kind to you, do not stay in an abusive marriage and do not get abusive. Get out of there. All right. So this is our tier list. So again, just to kind of recap, S's, they're perfect. I want more of them. Yes, please. Always, always, always. A tier is I want more. They're still pretty great. I think they have a few more episodes in them or unfulfilled potential. B is I would like to see more. If their stories are complete, that's okay, but I still think they can do more with these characters. C is if they're done, they're done. C is our Suicide Squad. C is like, bring them in, let them do the work. If they die, they die. And D is I never need to see or hear from these characters again. D is like, okay, yeah, bye. See ya. Amanda Waller ended up with Mama Mayhem, Rat Boy, Ian Peak, April, a mech, a guy who can control a mech, Great Value Bane, Ollie, Hacker Girl, Nux, Big Time, Peril, Discount George Lucas. Yeah, Kronos is a fun character. He, like, go watch those episodes of Justice League Unlimited that Kronos is in. He's fun as a foil, and you get to see Jonah Hex in one of them. It's a cool show. Batman Beyond was a fun show. So this was my tier list. I had fun with this. I don't generally do just chatting type stuff because I'm a small content creator and it's hard to do just he'd slot into a Harley Quinn series. Yeah, you could put Kronos in there. Kronos has potential. This version of Kronos right now, he's living in C tier. But like if someone brought Kronos back and did something else with him, he could slide up to B. These can change. They don't have to stay fixed. Like this guy could easily become an S tier. We would have to see what it goes on. But yeah, I'm a small content creator, so I don't usually do just chatting streams just because, like, I worry that people are going to get super bored or not show up for them. I'm going to be doing some Resident Evil 3 for you all soon. We're going to get back to some scary stuff because I know y'all like that. I don't know when, but maybe sometime this week, depending on things. I wanted to test some stuff out today with these tier lists because I've been having problems with them too. So everything worked, which was pretty neat. I am going to see if anybody I know is online that we can do a cheeky little raid on because we have some folks here. Let's see. You know what? I am going to do a raid on... We're going to raid Spite. Spite's playing Metal Gear Solid. Okay. We can't raid Spite. Alright, that's fine. Let's raid somebody else. Let's raid Elara. We raided Elara the other day, so we'll raid Elara again. Let me do our raid message here. Sorry, everybody. One day I'll actually learn to do things and be competent as a streamer. Alright. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so if you want to paste that in there, Elara is doing her thing. She's playing Elden Ring. I hope you folks had fun with this. I'll get it up on YouTube for everybody, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks for hanging out for my first ever tier list. I may try to do more just chatting stuff in the future. I don't know. It's all over the place. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, until next time, everybody, play more games and be safe. Bye.
That's horribly